and avoiding immensely expensive mistakes that were made by others in developing the previous industrial revolutions in their continents. Let's look at some concrete examples of this statement, like the energy sector. Yes, Africa lags significantly behind in energy access, we know it, but it also is blessed with high levels of solar radiation. Now, by embracing renewable energy, the continent could skip the unsustainable, carbon-dependent economic stage. And this is a stage, of course, which the developed world needs to tackle now urgently at the expense of probably trillions of dollars. Now, this example demonstrates that being behind actually could present strategic advantages of exploiting new opportunities. There are some other examples on the same. Africa lacks city infrastructure. Now, the opportunity is to develop sustainable and green cities. It lacks road and transportation infrastructure. The opportunity is to develop sustainable transport and mobility in Africa. It lacks ICTs and connectivity. And the opportunity is to benefit from the latest technological advancements to introduce modern but also cost-effective ICT solutions and infrastructures. A last example, the continent faces huge challenges in water, energy, and food security. A situation that is worsened by climate change. Now, the opportunity is to develop new approaches to build a resilient and sustainable new water, energy, food nexus in the continent. Honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to 4 concrete recommendations for further discussion in this forum. First, to identify ways to benefit from co-implementation of the second, the third, and the fourth industrial revolution in realizing the Africa we want. The second recommendation, let's learn from previous mistakes in other regions and create significant gains by avoiding these. Third, let's put action to words and let's significantly increase investments in R&D, in universities, and in research centers in the region. And fourth, let's boost science and engineering capacities for the transition in Africa to its new, vibrant, green economies. Ladies and gentlemen, advances in science and technology have been central to human progress ever since the invention of the wheel. Especially in the last 300 years, engineering and technology have tremendously transformed the world that we live in, contributing to significantly longer life expectancy and a higher quality of life for large numbers of a rapidly growing population. In more recent history, we saw the emergence of the Asian tigers. Do you remember? The Asian tiger economies, where steep economic growth was triggered, amongst others, by long-term targeted investments in education and in research and development. I think a flagship example is the Republic of South Korea. Now, learning from the Asian tigers, I believe it's high time that we unleash the African lions by investing in science, technology, and information, R&D, and education. I believe that in doing so, and yes, let's support this. Let's invest in science, in R&D and education. And in doing so, Africa will be able to push up the rich mineral, natural, cultural, and human resources of this continent higher up in the value chain, and as such generate economic growth, jobs, and prosperity for all Africans. We look forward to this new dawn in Africa's development, and by working together, we will ensure that sustainability and economic empowerment with shared prosperity for all will characterize Africa's transformation towards the future we want for all people in Africa. Please be assured that UNESCO will continue to work with all of you in making science, technology, and innovation work for Africa's transformation. I wish you all an engaging and successful STI forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hubert. As you can see, there is an obvious difference of size, but I can assure you that there is convergence in terms of objectives and joint willingness to make STI work for development in the continent. Thank you very much for this vibrant call for STI. Definitely it is more than time for us to harness the potential of STI, to get ready for it, and to make sure that it works beyond declaration, and it is really, whatever we want to do with STI is transformed into concrete action in our development plans and programs, in support of 2030, in support of 2063, but basically in support of people's welfare and well-being. I'm now delighted to call my colleague, Mr. Jean-Paul Adam, from the ECA, Director for Technology, Climate Change and Natural Resource Management, for his remarks.
Thank you very much. So, Honorable Ministers, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and I think we are all already blessed, so there is no need for me to pursue any further blessings. We are blessed by the rain, and that is indeed something great for today. So, ladies and gentlemen, in front of us we have a decade for a transformed and prosperous Africa. The Sustainable Development Goals and Agenda 2063 provide us with this objective. I would like to first of all thank Zimbabwe through the Honorable Minister, Professor Mewera, for bringing to make this step happen. We are here today to give substance to the decade of action. On behalf of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, I'm pleased to welcome you all once again, as others have done, to the second Africa Regional Science, Technology and Innovation Forum for Sustainable Development. And my intention is to tell you a little bit about the forum and also how we want to institutionalize it and what we want to hear from participants to be able to make it richer, more successful, and more importantly, to ensure that we follow it with action. So the 2030, the Addis Ababa Action Agenda. In brief, part of paragraph 70 of the 2030 Agenda states that the technology facilitation mechanism will be based on a multi-stakeholder collaboration between member states, civil society, private sector, scientific community, United Nations entities and other stakeholders, and will be composed of a United Nations interagency task team on science, technology, and innovation for the SDGs. It's about, therefore another way of saying this, it's about everyone, with no exception. Certainly the participation in this event today has grown with each iteration, and I congratulate Victoria Falls and Zimbabwe for bringing together the largest number of persons that we have had yet